All right, these are my exercises for the Module 2 assignment. The injury that I had assigned to me was Achilles tendinopathy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show two self-myofascial release techniques for the inhibition phase, two static stretches for the lengthening phase, two isolated strengthening exercises for the activation phase, and then one exercise for the integration phase. The first exercise that I'm going to demonstrate for the inhibition phase, we're going to be self-myofascial release for the biceps femoris, and then the self-myofascial release for the TFL, and then to the IT band. So we're doing SMR for the biceps femoris. What we're going to do is support ourselves on two arms, have the foam roll, distal on the hamstrings, and then we're going to work back proximal, and then we're going to go back, get to that tender spot, hold for 30 seconds. I like doing this unilaterally just because the hamstring's a little bit larger of a muscle. It can tolerate a little bit more tension. So we're going to get to that tender spot, we're just going to hold. Also with Achilles tendinopathy, you're going to have a little bit more, want to focus more on that short head of that biceps femoris, or the lateral edge of that hamstring, so you can kind of rotate over to the lateral side and get on that tender spot. So for the TFL and the IT band, this is a little bit more tender of an area to roll out, and so you may just need to gauge it a little bit per your tolerance. So what we want to do is you can cross your leg over, supporting yourself. Your motion is all going to be really dictated by the upper extremity of the arm that you're supporting yourself with. So what you're going to want to do first is start up top, get on that TFL, work to your tender spot, hold for 30 seconds. Okay, and then you're going to roll down to that IT band. IT band's going to be much more tender, so you can go just on one leg. If you can't, you can also support yourself on that front leg, and that'll help reduce the tension that you're placing on that IT band. Get to that spot, hold it. So for the lengthening exercises, I'm going to demonstrate a seated hamstring stretch. What you want to do is you can go to a couch, bed, whatever's easiest, table, bench. And what we're going to do is we're going to stretch each leg unilaterally. We want to have the other leg on the ground, so you don't want to be too high with it where this leg is unsupported. If the location where you're stretching is too high, you may want to put a stool or something underneath that down leg that you're not stretching. So what we want to do is keep our chest up in a good postural alignment with our back straight and flat, and we're going to lean straight, nice and forward. We don't want to try to grab our toes like we used to do when we were little. Just grab that toe. We want to stand up nice and tall. I like to say take your chest to your knee. So you're on the focus. Get to where you feel a good amount of tension and hold that. So we're going to do one leg for 30 seconds, holding it statically. And switch over and do the other leg. The next exercise I'm going to demonstrate for the lengthening phase is a supine IT band / TFL stretch. And so I really like this one better than the standing one, just because the IT band and the TFL is a hard muscle to stretch and really isolate. So you got to kind of really play around and feel what works best for you. So I like the supine one. I think it's the easiest position to find a good stretch on the IT band, most comfortable position. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our knees bent at about 90 degrees. So if I'm stretching the right leg, I'm going to cross that left leg over. And the goal is to take this left heel, drag that knee down to the ground. We want to make sure this leg that we're stretching stays bent. Okay. We don't want to try to roll too far. We want to try to keep that hip on the ground the best we can to really isolate that. Sometimes you got to kind of play around with, do we want to bend a little bit more, take it back, kind of come forward. And so everybody's a little bit different. But find that spot, feel a good stretch. So we'll hold it for 30 seconds, and then we'll switch sides. Again, dragging that knee. Remember, we're stretching the leg that we're taking away from her. This is the leg we're not stretching. For the strengthening phase, or the activation phase, I'm going to demonstrate 2 exercises. The first is going to be an eccentric calf raise. And so what we're going to do, Achilles tendinopathy, we want to focus on eccentric exercises because we really don't want to load it concentrically because it is shown to irritate that tendon more. So we really want to get that eccentric contraction. So if my right leg is my injured leg, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up concentrically on the left leg, and it's usually good to have something that you can help balance with. Take the pressure off with my right leg. Hold. 1, 2. And you're nice and easy. 2, 3, 4. So then we're going to repeat. Go up. Hold that position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here. Shift over. 2. Then lower down. 3, 4. Okay. So next one we're going to do is a clamshell exercise. This is going to focus on the glutes. Grab my band. You may or may not have a band. You can do this without. I like using a band. But if you're just starting out really focusing on trying to activate those glutes, you may not even need a band. So what we're going to do is put the band up around the knees. So I like to put it above the knees. I don't like to put it below. I feel like it isolates the glutes a little bit better. So you're going to lay sideline, with our knees bent at about 90 degrees. I like to put my hand here on my hip just so we don't want to rotate out. You can also kind of poke your glute right here just to make sure you're feeling that contraction, that activation right there in that glute. So what we're going to do is raise up, hold it, 1, 2, then nice and easy down, 2, 3, 4. We don't want to come up to where we roll back. Okay, you can envision there's a wall back here. Our feet are flat, my back's flat against that wall. We're coming up, we're not rolling out. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. One, 2, 3, 4. Nice and slow down. But those would want to perform 3 sets of 10 with the resistance. 3 sets of 15 without resistance. For the eccentric gastrocs, we want to start out performing 2 sets of 15, and then we can progress from there based on tolerance. The last exercise I'm going to demonstrate is my integration exercise. It's a single leg balance with an arm swing. So what we're doing is we're focusing on single leg balance with some movement around it, really trying to stimulate the entire kinetic chain to stabilize with movement. So it would be a progression to the single leg balance with a reach and the sagiofrontal and then transverse plane. So what we're going to do first is we're going to stand on one leg. Okay, it's important to be in a good postural alignment. I've heard it described as get the second and third toe in line with the knee and the hip. I also like to look at the lateral border of the foot, and if that isn't a straight line, that's another great way to see if you're in a good postural alignment. What we want to do is stand up tall. We want our head back. We don't want to be leaning forward. In a good, stable position. This leg is bent. Okay, we want it bent at 90 degrees. We also want it to be in 0 degrees or neutral position of the hip. We don't want to be in any hip flexion. Okay, so we're up tall. We're also going to grab 3-pound dumbbell weights. So nice and easy. In a good running form arm swing, not too fast, not too slow. We want to be about 1 second for each swing. So it'd be about 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Stand it up nice and tall. We don't want to lean forward. Nice and easy. The other big thing with this exercise is we want to make sure we maintain that arch. I always like to tell my athletes to stabilize through that big toe or balance through that big toe. But balancing through that big toe, that really forces them to kind of dig in through that metatarsal head there with a great toe and support that arch. So So we're going to do that for 1 minute, and then we're going to switch sides. Okay, same thing. Working on second and third toe in line with that knee, or if it's easier for that lateral side of that foot to be straight ahead, you don't want to be externally rotated here. Okay. Again, 90 degrees, nice straight, head up, nice slow motion. We're not going fast, nice and slow. Here's the side view for you. Tall, nice and easy. So again, this would be an initial balancing integration exercise, and we can progress from here. So we do 1 minute each side, 3 sets. And those are my exercises.